Okay. So I kind of wanted to make a long form video about this. Mostly, it's mostly for myself because I find that talking through these things helps me. But if you're someone who struggles with an eating disorder, this might be kind of triggering. So it is about recovery, so it might be triggering in a good way, or maybe not in so much of a good way if you're really down the rabbit hole with it. So just watch with caution, and if you think it's going to be triggering in a bad way, you don't gotta watch it, okay? Alright. Also, excuse the fact that I'm sitting on a pile of Legos right now. Like, I just got this freaking Technic set and BMW motor brand, and it's got like almost 2,000 pieces, and this bitch is fucking dope, so I've been working on it. Hyped. But anyways, just ignore the setting. Okay, we're getting into it now. A little bit of background about my eating disorder. I've been dealing with this shit for 6 or 7 years now. It's been almost 7 years that I've been dealing with eating disorders. So I struggled with a few different ones. So orthorexia, anorexia, bulimia. Okay? I've been through the phases of each one. Started off with anorexia, transformed in bulimia, transformed in orthorexia, back to anorexia, and then that one lasted me a good long while. Bulimia was especially bad though on like my finances and my social life, because it got so bad to the point where I'd be like spending all my money that I needed for bills and stuff on food, and I'd be throwing it all up, tying it in grocery bags and tossing it outside in the middle of the night. I'd be turning down social situations. I wouldn't go to restaurants because I didn't want to interact with people. I just wanted to either starve myself or binge and throw it all up. And that was like my life for a long time. It deteriorated so rapidly. I couldn't focus in school. There were other things going on in the background of this too, especially towards the latter end, like more recently, especially last year, where I was dealing with my eating disorder in conjunction with some other personal stressors that just kind of exacerbated it. And it was awful. It ruined my relationship with my parents for a while. Ruined my relationship with all my friends, my romantic relationships, like everything. It fucked me up heavily. And you know, at the moment, like, I'm still going through a lot of personal stressors, but at least my nutrition, my physical health is something that I can control, and I can do it in a good way. Like, I've been focusing on gaining weight. Okay, I'm gonna mention some numbers. So like I said, man, this video might be triggering to you, so if you got an eating disorder and it's gonna be triggering to you, just don't watch it, please, God. But I've gained 35 pounds. 35 pounds since December. It's June right now. January, February, March, April, May, June. So that's 6 months. First 3 months of that recovery period, I spent like lifting weights consistently, kind of slipped back into starving myself for a little bit, undid a little bit of my progress, lost a little bit more weight, and then just fucking stuck to it. And then an additional 3 months on top of that weightlifting. So some good muscle mass. I put on some good muscle mass. I put on a good amount of weight, especially for a 6 month period. And I'm gonna put up some pictures of like what I used to look like versus what I look like now, so you can kind of see the difference. But again, like, I apologize if this is triggering. God, like, please click off the video if this is not conducive to your recovery experience. But I feel better than I've ever felt, you know? In like the peak of my eating disorder, I would pass out at work. I would have days where I just like, I physically could not get up. And so like when I try to get out of bed, I get so dizzy, such horrible head rush, that I'd have to like scoop some pre-workout and chug like 2 or 3 scoops of that just to be able to get to work. And like, I was a waitress for a year and a half, and that shit was crazy. Like, it was really intense. I was always on my feet. We also had like bus tables, like do dishes and stuff. So it was like, that was part of it. It was just very laborious work that I honestly, especially working like double shifts all the time, just could not like keep up with it. But I did for a year and a half, somehow weighing like 85 pounds, which is crazy. So yeah, I'm like 119, 120 right now. It fluctuates. I'm trying to get to 140. That's my goal. My goal is to have a lot of lean mass on me. I want to be muscular because my mom was a bodybuilder, and that was something that, like, for me as a kid, was always really inspirational to me. My mom's amazing. My mom, she's so confident. She can, like, when she looks people in the eye, like, she commands their attention immediately. She walks into a room and she's got a presence to her. She's got discipline. She's got so much power inside of her. And I always look up to my mom. Like, my mom is great. But when I was younger, like, I thought that was really cool and everything, but it's just like, because I had such low self-esteem, low confidence, I wanted to be strong too, but I just never allowed myself to try and get into that because I wanted to take up as little space as possible. My mom was like awesome and inspirational to me, but I never thought I had that in me. I never thought I had like the capability of being strong and cool too, you know? But everyone has that within themselves. It just takes discipline. It takes, like, confidence is a learned skill, you know? You just got to push yourself to acquire it. And some people, they have it a little bit more naturally because maybe they were raised in conditions where, like, their parents fostered their confidence or their friends fostered their confidence. And so they grew up into being a confident person just a little bit more naturally through natural social processes. But for me, like, I went through school pretty early. I was one of the youngest kids in my grade levels. Like, I didn't have a lot of friends, so I didn't have a lot of those natural social interactions that do foster confidence in younger people. So I just kind of grew up into a very timid, shy, meek person, trying to take up as little space as possible, starving myself, always low on energy, never getting enough sleep, right? Terrible. And everything's completely different now. Because, like, I still have eating disordered thoughts. They still pop in my head, but I don't want to act on them anymore. This is the first time in my entire life where I've ever had those thoughts pop in my head, and I think, God, I don't want to fucking do that. It's always like I was always indulging in it immediately. Like, man, I make breakfast for myself. I don't want to eat. I'm not going to fucking eat. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to throw that shit away. Or I'll eat and I'll throw it up immediately because it made me uncomfortable to feel full. Because I didn't look at food as fuel. I didn't look at food as a tool to achieve that higher level of confidence that I was seeking, that I was aspiring to, that I was endeavoring to, okay? And so now what I've noticed is, like, if you're in the process of recovery, you don't even necessarily need to be like a super physically active person, but it helps so much. Just going to the gym helps so much. You don't even have to go to the gym. Like, you can be active in so many ways. You can start a sport. You can walk your dog every day. You can be consistent with any kind of physical activity, calisthenics, like rowing, like freaking swimming, like whatever you want to do, man. But like for me, I just like going to the gym and lifting weights because like I found inspiration through my mom with that, and also my dad. Like, he was more into like mixed martial arts stuff, which like judo is really fun for me, but I'm just more into lifting, quite honestly. So I'm trying to get big and beefy and muscular like my mom, because I think that's awesome. So whatever your goals look like, whatever your goals are for your physique, I really think like at the beginning, if you're trying to recover from an eating disorder, just trying to put on mass and eating foods that make you feel comfortable and safe, and just hitting your maintenance calories, if not slightly above. Like, you gotta do it, especially if like, not even if you're just underweight, but if you just have like an eating disordered mindset, stop counting calories, just eat, you know? Just eat your food until you feel satiated, okay? And that's such a hard skill to learn, but like, you might put on weight at first. You probably will, you know, if you're just eating without counting, you're eating when you want. But the thing is, like, when you eat when you want, and not even like giving into binge urges, but like you're just actually making like 3 full balanced meals for yourself, okay? With good food, good fats, good protein, everything. You're forcing yourself to eat that every single day. Eventually you get to a point where your body stops craving all of that processed food that you want to binge on. Because the reason why a lot of the time people get urges to binge is because they're malnourished. It doesn't matter if you're underweight, overweight, normal weight. If you got an urge to binge, those cravings are caused by something, probably malnutrition or some emotional issue that you're having. So if you're depressed, you could be well nourished, but you could be extremely depressed. And so those urges to binge come from that depression because you have an unstable emotional state, right? So in order to have your outward appearance in health reflect your inward appearance, you need to focus on perfecting the health within you, like in your mind, in your heart, your body, your soul, like internally, before it starts to have like external physical changes, you know, to show for it. Because if you're okay up here, you know, if you're comfortable, confident, you feel safe, and you love yourself up here and in here, all of this out here, bro, is gonna change along with it, okay? You can't be perfect on the outside and then on the inside be hating yourself, be constantly insecure, have no confidence. Like, I'm certain there are bodybuilders and stuff out there who have like great physiques but are just the most like insecure people. But the thing about that is, sorry about the train in the background, by the way, the thing about that is if you have that turmoil within you, it's just setting you up for failure later on, because you can't maintain consistency throughout a lifetime if your heart's not in it. If you don't love yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, you're gonna get joint problems, you're gonna have so many issues if you're just not doing it for the right reasons, you're not taking adequate rest, recovery. Like, you have to prioritize those things. All right. Especially what helped me was eating like whole foods and like eating 3 meals a day. Because the thing is, like, when I was in like that peak of my eating disorder, I always wanted to binge on candy, processed shit, because my body was so starving. It was just like, bro, give me some fucking candy, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck. Put whatever you want in me. Like, I need some shit. And it was really bad, because like I would binge on like a bunch of fucking gummy bears or something, and I'd still be hungry, but like I was like full, so I go throw it up, and then I just pass out, right? Man, I can't believe I did this to myself. But anyway, oh, shit got me fucked up a little bit. Like, I can't believe I did that to myself. Fuck. Oh my god. Anyways, but yeah, so the thing is, like, don't restrict yourself when you're trying to recover. So stick to the 3 full meals a day with like good whole foods, like protein, fats, everything, whole foods, good foods. And then if you still, like, after you eat your meal, if you still want something processed, then fucking eat it, bro. Just eat it. Because it's fine. Because, you know, if you still want that after you've eaten the meal, like, you're going to have, like, a higher level of satiety. And it's fine, especially when you're trying to recover from an eating disorder. And eventually it'll kind of wean off, like, the frequency at which you want to binge on those things. It takes a while. And you're going to gain weight at first, most likely. And you're going to bloat because of water retention. And it's going to be uncomfortable. Dude, like oh my god, bro, when I tell you the first month of me trying to recover was the worst experience of my life. I never want to leave my apartment. Like, my face was so puffy, I was swollen, I felt disgusting. I did not want to leave my apartment and go to work. I would be wearing a mask every day, like, but I'd be wearing a mask like a lot of the time because my face was just so swollen from the water retention. I felt so disgusting eating so much food. My body just wasn't used to it. But when I tell you it's temporary, I fucking mean it, okay? You gotta stick it out. Because the amount of times, like, I try recovering and frickin' the bloat would just scare the fuck out of me, so I just throw everything up because I didn't want to deal with it. Like, bro, you gotta let your body adjust. You gotta let it adjust and drink water. Oh my god, where is my water bottle right now? Hold up. Hold on. I just said water, so I need to drink some water. Sorry, I need to drink some water. Water is so good. Anyway. There is like a very uncomfortable adjustment period for recovery. As like, depending on how malnourished you are, like, your body's not gonna react super pleasant to you putting a bunch of food in it. But you know what? It's gonna go away, dude. Like, oh my god, like if I could talk to someone directly with an eating disorder who's like doubting themselves in the initial stages of recovery, I'd literally grab their shoulders and shake them and be like, it's gonna go away. Because bro, like I said, the amount of times I wanted to give up solely because of the bloating, the discomfort, like I was hot all the time, I was sweaty, and I thought that shit was never gonna go away. But it did. You know what? And like, it's crazy to me now because like I'm like 119, 120 pounds, like I'm 35 pounds heavier than where I started, you know, before recovery, but I'm like, I don't get bloated. Like, all the like water retention in my face is gone. Like, jawline. My waist is smaller now than it was when I was at 85 pounds. Okay, so putting on weight doesn't necessarily mean, like, it's not a bad thing. You're gonna feel so much better in your body. Like, you're gonna have like proper digestion. Like, my digestion was so fucked, dude. Like, oh my goodness, I'd be eating the worst things and my body would not thank me for it at all, man. Like, it was not pleasant, but it goes away and it gets better. So if you do want to put on muscle, take it easy at first. Don't be ego lifting. Like, I would recommend getting in touch with a dietitian or personal trainer, especially if you're trying to recover from an ED, just because your limitations and like safety, it is a little different than just like a normal healthy person trying to get into lifting weights. There's a little bit more to consider. Like, if you've been starving yourself for a long time, like for me, like I have some bone issues, right? Like things like osteoporosis, for example, very prevalent in people with eating disorders. So that stuff, you have to, like, it's a factor that comes into play when you are trying to do something like lifting weights. So just like try and get in touch with a doctor, dietitian, nutritionist, whatever. Tell them what your plan is. But even if you're not trying to lift weights, like just do like 60 minutes of some form of physical activity a day when you're trying to recover. And don't like limit yourself. Like, when you make your 3 meals, make sure it's good foods with protein, fat, carbs, like all that, fiber. But if you still want like fucking candy or whatever after the meal, eat that shit. But just make sure it's after the meal, because if you get into the habit of eating like sugary processed stuff before your meals, you're not gonna have enough room for the actual meal, and you want to make sure you get nutrition in. Okay? Like, this shit gets better, man. Like, I never would have thought like I'd be saying this, but it does get better. Like, I'm not even anywhere close to where I want to be. Like, I got a little muscle packed onto me. That's awesome. But like I said, I want to be like a bodybuilder, right? So it's going to take me like years to get to where I actually want to be. And even when I get to that physique, I'm probably not going to be satisfied. I'm going to just want to keep pushing. But like a year from now, I'm going to have like a decent amount of muscle packed on me, hopefully. And like, it just makes me so happy being in the gym. Like, I finally found something to focus on. And I think that when you have an eating disorder, your whole life gets consumed by like fixating on food and stuff. But sorry, my battery's about to die. But you can still kind of like work with food, you know? You can still like calculate nutrition and look at macros and stuff. And that like obsession that a lot of people with eating disorders have is something you can kind of still indulge in a healthy manner. Just like be careful with it. And I wouldn't recommend trying to count stuff until you're like in a comfortable stage of your recovery. Okay? Because like me, I love cooking. I love nutrition. I love like the science of food and how it impacts the body. Like, I'm a chemist, right? So that stuff is interesting to me. That's what I study at school. So that's what still allows it to be fun for me, because I have that scientific interest in it, and I can do it without falling back into my ED habits. If you can't track without falling into your ED habits, I wouldn't even recommend just trying it like until you're actually in a state of recovery where you feel pretty comfy. Just like, don't worry about it, okay? The main thing is like making sure that you're eating till you're full and satisfied, and you have energy levels, and you're putting on weight, and like you're comfortable, you know? That's pretty much all I wanted to say. I don't know, this was way more long-winded than I thought it was gonna be, but this video is more for me than anyone else, I guess. If it helps someone who's trying to recover, then awesome. But I just kind of like to document how my mentality progresses over time and evolves over time, because this is like, I'm 20 years old, and like for the first time in my 20 years of existence, I actually feel like I got something to live for. Like, I feel like I'm actually alive. My heart's fucking beating, you know? There's gonna be shit in life that like, man, there's gonna be people who try and get in your fucking way, okay? There's gonna be people who step in the middle of your goddamn pathway and get in your face, and you just gotta shove past them, okay? Because if you try and make the world a better place, like no matter how many people treat you like shit, you still treat them with kindness. No matter how much the world shits on you, you still go out there every day and try and do good things. Try and make people smile, try and make people happy, and then take that energy and put it on yourself too. Take care of yourself. Make yourself feel good. The world needs more people like that, and you'll become an indomitable fucking force. You are a brick shit house, and you can fucking do anything that you want if you just push yourself, if you believe in yourself, if you love yourself. It all starts in here, man. In here, up here, and then everything on the outside comes to follow. This is the priority. In here, up here, the priority, and then out here will follow. Your life matters, your existence is important, so just keep fucking pushing. Have a good one.